Influencer marketing really, I think, is the next iteration of affiliate marketing. It's really, I like to say it's affiliate marketing of today. The phrase, fake it until you make it. In this case with influencers, I think that can only take you so far. You want it to be authentic because that's going to come through. You can definitely earn money to become an influencer.
Welcome to the MyLead Affiliate Network channel. Today we are going to have an interesting conversation with Arlen Robinson, the OSCI of affiliate software. We will be discussing an interesting topic today: how to be successful with influencer marketing. But before we start, if you want to learn more useful things about affiliate marketing, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hello Arlen, thank you for agreeing to take a part in our interview. Let's start from the basis. What is influencer marketing?
I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience. Well, influencer marketing, as many have probably heard, it's a really big buzzword these days, and it is really exploding. Well, quite simply, what affiliate marketing is when a brand will utilize an individual, which these days we call influencers, that have a particular audience or particular following, whether it could be small or large. We're talking from hundreds of followers on the various social platforms all the way up to millions of followers. And so they have an audience, and that audience is usually a specific demographic. And with an influencer, because of the reach that you have across social media and a variety of these different platforms, you have the ability to market the services and products of different businesses. And so that's why these days, because of this explosion of these social media platforms, the influencer is really in demand today by brands.
What are the types of influencers?
Great question. There are several actually levels of influencers. And if we start really at the very bottom, we would say we all actually are influencers in our own right. I would say the very bottom level would be a local influencer, where you and I or anyone maybe listening at various levels have an audience of people that follow us on our social platforms. And they could be a mix of our friends, our family members, our colleagues, people that we know, people that we've encountered over the years. The next level up would be what we would talk about, I would say, a nano influencer. A nano influencer is going to be someone that has a following of about 1,000 to 5,000 followers across the major social networks. Now, these are people that they're active because maybe they blog, they have a content that they put out, and they attract people that consume their content. It doesn't necessarily have to be contextual content, could be video content, and they have a decent amount of followers. We're talking about 1,000 to 5,000 followers. The next level of an influencer is going to be a micro influencer. And those are people that have followers in the range of 5,000 to 50,000 followers across any of the major social networks. As you see, quite a lot more than the nano, of course, and then the local influencers. These are people that have quite an established following. They put out content that really has kind of tapped into, a larger amount of people, and they're able to kind of grow their audience and their numbers up to about 50,000. The next level of influencer would be what we call, or I consider, the mid-tier influencer. And those mid-tier influencers are going to be people that have following of followers across the social networks anywhere between 50,000 and 300,000 followers across the major social networks. And so, as you can see, that's quite a big leap up. We're talking 300,000 followers. So we're talking about people that have quite a reach. Usually their influencers are kind of categorized, I guess you could say also, and I'll kind of explain that before I get to the next level. When I talk about categorized, we have all influencers for all shapes and sizes. So let's say you are someone that puts out content about traveling, or you put out a blog about traveling. It could be a mix of videos, blog articles about traveling the world, where you highlight key places, hotels, things to do at different cities. You would be considered a travel blogger. Then we have other people that would be more, let's say, I'll give another example, would be, let's say, a fitness blogger. They're very popular these days, where you talk about all things fitness. You may give people quick articles or videos about how to do certain exercises, and you would be, considered like a trainer or a fitness blogger or influencer. So those are different categories. And so when I'm talking about these influencers, usually there are people that are focused on a specific category. There are exceptions where we have people that kind of cover a variety of categories, but they're usually, particular to another category, to specific categories. And now it's going to really take us to the next level. I left off at the mid-tier influencer, which can typically cap off to following of about 300,000 followers across major social networks. Now, the highest level of influencer is going to be a macro influencer. Those are people that have approximately 300,000 to 1 million followers across any of the social networks. And, we're talking million plus. These are people that really are active, really have a major following. But it doesn't end there. The highest level would be the mega influencer. These are people that have at least 1 million followers on upwards of tens of millions to, hundreds of millions of followers. Usually the mega influencer, I would say, from what I've seen in my research and just looking at the major platforms, are people that are at the celebrity level. It's really hard to get beyond, the tens of millions and get into the triple digit millions of followers across the major social networks, unless you're really kind of at that celebrity status where you're either an entertainer, you're the entertainer in your particular nation, or you're a global figure or an icon that, the world knows about, because otherwise it's really hard to reach those numbers. And so those are the categories of influencers today.
Why do publishers from affiliate networks need to pay attention to this topic?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you nailed it. It's a really hard. If you're a publisher across an affiliate network, you can definitely earn money to become an influencer. If you're a publisher, you're publishing content, you're putting things out there, because, these days businesses are looking for more creative forms of advertising to reach their particular audience. So we're kind of beyond the old days of just a brand advertising on television or newspaper or print media. It's still done, of course, and a lot of the major brands are still doing that. But these days, I think social media has become such a fixture in the lives of everyone. That's where people go. That's where people, go to consume their news, to chat with their friends, to find out the latest fashions. All of that is on social media. And so because of this whole rise of these social media platforms, is the growth of influencers is really important. So brands are looking at these affiliates and these publishers to see the reach that they can get, that they cannot get via, the regular forms of advertising.
How to become an influencer? Is it simple? Because you have also noticed that we are all some kind of influencers now.
Yeah, good. Right. Exactly. We are, like I said at the beginning, we all are influencers in our own right. But if we're talking of, if you have the aspiration to become an influencer and to reach those levels that I talked about, all the way, from the mid tier to the macro to, the mega, that's difficult to get to those highest levels. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy, to get to those highest levels. Yeah, you really, like I said, have to be a celebrity, an entertainer, some type of global figure that it just has that reach naturally from what you do, whether you're an entertainer that puts out music, you've got videos out, you do concerts, or you're, an actor or actress where your content is seen across the world. So unless you're in that level, it's really hard to get to that. But publishers that are listening, don't fret, because you can still become an influencer. One thing that you can do, even if you've got just you're just getting started and your following is, maybe just, a meager few thousand. As I mentioned, that nano influencer level is actually seen as if you have between 1,000 and, 5,000. And then if you get to the next level of the micro influencer, those two levels are kind of the sweet spot for brands, and brands know this. And the reason why I say they're kind of a sweet spot is because usually influencers that are in those numbers, you know, between 5,000 to 50,000 followers, typically their audience, their followers, they're going to have a lot more engagement with them as opposed to those micro and mega influencers, because, you know, these days, people at that level, the celebrity level, their social media is managed. It's managed by a team. And yeah, there's a fair level of engagement that somebody's managing for them, or they may pop in every once in a while and, you know, do their own post or respond to their own comment. But that engagement is, I would say, a lot of it can be artificial. A lot of it is not really real. When you get people that are in the nano and micro influencer level, that are the smaller level, they're able to really form solid relationships with their followers. They can engage with them. When there's comments, they can get to know them. And so because of that level of engagement, those followers can trust that influencer a lot more. So if that influencer is going to be promoting a particular product, their followers are going to more than likely trust that, maybe purchase it, follow up with that recommendation. And so that brands know this. They know that that level of engagement is there. And so, yes, you know, to slowly, as you're, you know, putting out your content, like I said, when you're reaching those levels, you can definitely, you know, work to try to get approach to brands or approach brands and, you know, let them know you're at that sweet spot and that you have an audience that is really primed and ready. And, you know, they'll be able to verify that because, you know, they can just look at your social media, see how often you're posting, what are your comment to like ratio, all of that. And so, yeah, if you can get to that level, I think there's definitely a great opportunity for you as an affiliate or a publisher.
What is the best platform to work with? Because, okay, we decided to start to be an influencer, but influencer on YouTube or Instagram or on TikTok, or can we combine those platforms? What is the best way, or what is the platform, the first platform we can work with, and maybe then we can start spreading our profiles? Can you please make any suggestions, for example?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Well, it really always depends on, you know, the type of influencer that you are, the type of, you know, content that you're either putting out, the type of things that you're sharing, because, you know, most people, as you may know, the different social platforms have slightly different demographics. TikTok, which is new, which is exploding these days, definitely skews a little bit more of a younger demographic. We're talking people that are, you know, 21 and under, you know, getting into the teen and preteen stage. That's a kind of a sweet spot for TikTok because it's fun. You've got these videos, people are putting out these short snippets of kind of catchy songs and things like that. That naturally skews a little bit. Gotcha. But yeah, you don't have to be young. Yeah, definitely. So even though, you know, you don't have to be a child, even though it skews younger, it definitely has an audience that can even be, you know, older than, you know, the base demographic. But then, you know, there's, of course, with the other platforms, we have the Instagram, YouTube as well, which is really kind of a variety of demographics. So you really have to just see where are you mostly connecting with audience, where are you getting the majority of your likes, your comments, and then really kind of maybe double down on those platforms and really try to increase the followers that you're getting on those particular ones. So it can be hard to tell, you know, like you said, we've got, you know, on TikTok, you know, there's people that are, you know, grandmothers are on TikTok. And so you can't necessarily say it just always skews to the younger demographic, but, you know, typically that's kind of where it goes.
There's some categories are, for example, on Instagram, more like fashionable, some aesthetic, like, for example, e-commerce. On YouTube, like, for example, more something how to, or making videos about specific products or video games, and so to Twitch as well. So maybe those categories can help our publishers to make a good choice.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you mentioned a couple key things, like with Instagram, video gamers, that type of thing is really fun. Instagram, because Instagram is very visual, just like TikTok. Anything that lends more to a very visual component, whether it's just pictures or video, it will lend to those platforms. So like Instagram, I mentioned earlier, the travel vloggers are huge on Instagram because, it's so visual. Anytime you're traveling, you take a lot of pictures. If you're trying to really capture a moment, you're trying to capture a location, then the visual component is really there. So yes, that's very important. You have to kind of understand the strengths of a particular platform to understand where do you want to spend your time on, where you want to focus on, and go from there.
So I have a follow-up question. How to choose a target group and understand their needs or find a niche? So is there a specific category that you can tell that will be suited to every publisher, or it's really need to come from, let's say, from the heart?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, because there's a lot of ways you can go with it. I would say what you stated lastly is you want to go with something that's coming from the heart. You want whatever you want to call yourself as far as an influencer, you want it to be authentic, because that's going to come through. Even though this is kind of a virtual world we're dealing with people that are virtually following you, virtually consuming your content. The genuineness of everything that you put out is going to shine through. And so if you're saying, okay, I'm just going to look down the list of possible categories of influencers that I could be, I'm just going to pick, like I said, travel, because that's really big these days. If you're not into it, it's not only going to be a nightmare for you. If you don't like traveling, you don't like going for spots, that's going to be a nightmare for you. And then your audience is going to be able to pick up on, he's just trying to make money. It's not authentic. And so you definitely want to choose the category of things that you're into. And so if, let's say you're a musician, you play, let's say, the piano, think about that particular category. Whatever it is, you just have to, I think, really look at yourself, look at the things that you're interested in, and go with there. You really can't go wrong with creating a influencer persona about something that really is tied to your personality and the things that you like.
Can you please describe what a marketing strategy is and what it looks like step by step? So, for example, when you're creating an account, should you show face or not? Should you buy some followers from the start just to fill this space or not?
Yeah, the first thing you definitely want to do is, and this kind of goes back to what I just previously said, you want to be authentic in everything that you do. You want to you have to put yourself out there. So definitely as many photos as possible of just your life, where you're living, what your day-to-day routine consists of. That's a big thing these days. People want to know the day-to-day activities of these influencers. And people love watching those type of videos, a day in the life of that's what those type of videos are called. So you want to put all of that out there so that people can really get to know you, even virtually. And so once you kind of craft this online persona, it's really no different than really, putting yourself out there in the real world. It's just you're doing it virtually. So everything that you would do to kind of present yourself, the best light you can, you want to do that. And when I say the best light you can, you don't want to fake anything. A lot of times people will hear the phrase "fake it until you make it." In this case, with influencers, I think that can only take you so far. You want to be authentic. You want to put out stuff that's really real. If this is your life, share that. And that's really how people can connect. And so once you start, as far as the step-by-step strategy is concerned, after you've selected your particular topic or demographic that you want to go after, let's say, you're a musician and you want to start a blog or video, you want to become a piano influencer that's going to maybe start sharing, your own take on some famous songs. You're going to do kind of covers of different songs. That's a good category. A lot of people are into that type of stuff. pick that and then, get out there. You mentioned, okay, how are you going to get these followers? How are you going to get people to follow you? The best way is just really, it's just got to be organic. I would not recommend paying for followers, even though that can be done. That's really, you mentioned, could you pay for them? That's a big thing these days. You can do it. You can definitely buy followers. There's a lot of services that offer that to kind of bolster your numbers, and it can definitely be done. But I think when you're doing that, you're going to lose the authenticity of getting real followers. I think, some of the ways to really, get people is to just, put that content out there. And you may have to spend a little bit of money to pay for marketing specific content, whether you're paying for a particular ad across YouTube, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, paying for content, seeing if it connects, and just trial and error, trying different things, continually growing your website, doing, some organic search engine optimization. So you kind of have to do a little bit of all of these things. But of course, it all starts with kind of putting together and crafting that persona, and then trying to connect with the audience via content and even paid marketing.
And what about affiliate links? When it is the best time to put them?
Yeah, great question. Because you're always going to be wondering as an affiliate, when do you kind of slip that in there? You want to become authentic. You've kind of created this persona. You're coming off as just people's online friend, so to speak. But so you don't want to be so salesy. I think it's a fine line with how you want to kind of put that out there. I think what it is you have to be creative with it when you're providing that link or giving out that promo code. You have to do something that kind of feels natural. So, maybe you're doing a day in the life video where you're kind of going through your daily routine. And maybe you've been approached by a company that sells protein shakes, for instance. Slip that into your day in the life. Just try to make it organic. Try to make it like it's something that you really do. And the brands that you're actually going to be promoting via your affiliate link or promo codes, make sure it's brands that you actually would use. Don't do something where you're just doing it just to make a buck. You want to make, you want to do something that makes sense and something that you would actually do. And then, just put that out there, just naturally to tell people, this is great. I love it. If you want to get this, you want to get a discount on this particular product, check out my link or use this particular promo code. So I think the key thing is just try to make it as natural as possible. So people don't think that you're so salesy and you're just trying to force it down their throat.
How much does influencer marketing cost? What budget is needed?
As far as the cost for an influencer really is just going to be the cost the biggest is the cost of your time. Secondly, the next major cost is going to be, there's going to be a little bit of equipment that you're going to need. You definitely want to get a decent camera. These days, whatever type of influencer you are, you got to there's a large emphasis on that visual component. Whether it's video or pictures. So you want to have definitely a decent camera, decent lighting wherever you're filming, wherever you're taking pictures. You want to invest in that. So you definitely want to have a decent budget from that. And so, as far as those types of things, you can always start small, talking about purchasing camera, lighting, that type of setup from just, a few $100s, and then work your way up to more expensive types of equipment where you're talking maybe a few $1,000s. To get started. And then as far as thinking about your budget and trying to connect with people, another thing that you can also do is factor in, some marketing yourself across the platforms, whether you're doing some paid advertising across the networks, the Facebook, the Instagram, and all these other areas. You can, factor that in as well. So I would say, initially you're talking about, a few $100s up to $500 to get started. The marketing budget to kind of get yourself out there, starting at several $100s to a few thousand, to get out there. And then it just really kind of is gonna kind of go from there, depending on how much of a return you're really getting and if it's going to be worth you making that investment.
how to start earning from influence marketing?
The biggest thing as an influencer is you want to be able to get paid by brands that you're promoting. We talked about earlier, when to give out those affiliate links. And first off, you got to have that relationship in order to become an affiliate, to get those affiliate links from those particular brands. And so to be able to get those relationships, you want to do some outreach, influencer outreach. And so there's several ways that you can do that. One of the things that you can do is you can try to piggyback off some other influencers. If you're in a particular area, I talked about, let's say, a musician that's maybe does cover songs, and he's trying to reach brands that maybe are in the music space, maybe brands that sell keyboards, maybe brands that sell headphones, that type of space. What you can do is try to piggyback maybe off of some other influencers. Take a look, do some searching for other influencers in that space, see what brands they promote, and then, go after them. And you can even try to, approach those brands and undercut them and tell them, okay, I know that you've got such and such influencer. I'll take maybe a little bit less because I'm just kind of getting started, but I'll be able to promote your brand, to a certain following. And so that's one way, take a look at what these other guys are doing. And then another way that you can try to connect with brands is going to be to actually utilize some of the services that are out there today. These are influencer marketing services, and I like to think of them as kind of matchmaking services or dating type services for brands and affiliates. So if you're a brand, there's a lot of services out there today. A few are influencers.com is one, influencer.co, whereas a affiliate or a publisher, you can create an account and get in their database where basically they highlight what demographic you're in, how many followers you have, what types of things that you promote, what brands you've represented in the past. And brands can also sign up as a brand on these services and look through the database. And then these sites become like a middleman and facilitate the relationship. So that's also a great way to try to connect with brands. And there's many of them. I just named two of them, but there's so many out there. You can just do a quick search for influencer marketing services and you'll find quite a few.
Is it better to become an influencer or to think about collaborating with one of them?
Well, if you're looking to become one, it really depends. When we're talking about collaborating with an influencer, let's say you're kind of up and coming, you don't really have too many followers and you're wondering how you can kind of get into it. Collaborating with a current influencer could be a way to do it, where you can maybe approach a particular influencer in a specific category and, offer to help them promote, maybe, free of charge, just to kind of get your feet wet, so to speak. And so if you form some type of relationship with them, you can let them know, okay, let me get your affiliate links. I can help you promote. This is going to help me kind of get going, get my feet wet with promoting. And, you may not need to take anything at first and then see how that goes. And then as money starts coming through that affiliate link and that influencer that you've collaborated with sees, okay, they're really starting to get some traction there. Then you can take it to the next level and say, okay, starting to get some traction here. Maybe we can negotiate a deal where I get maybe, let's say 10% of anything that I send through your link that you can split with me or whatever you decide. So that's definitely, I think, a great way to get started, especially if your follower count is low and you don't really have too many followers. And so that's, definitely one thing that you can do. But if you feel that you've really gotten traction, you've kind of gotten to the micro and nano influencer level where you're reaching, 1,000 followers, tens of thousands of followers, or 50,000. I think if you're at that point, you're probably stable enough to be able to be that influencer on your own and just start directly approaching brands, as long as you're getting that engagement. So, those are, I think, definitely a couple ways you can try to get into it, depending on kind of how you stand.
You have already mentioned that you can find influencers on some kind of matching platform. After finding a specific influencer, how to contact them? Where can we find those contacts? I know for a fact that sometimes on YouTube, for example, influencers give wrong addresses.
I understand. Yeah, so both ways. So if you're an influencer, you're trying to do some type of collaboration, Yeah, of course, or in either way, or if you're a brand and you're trying to reach out to an influencer, of course, the good thing in the day that we're in right now is we have all these social platforms, and most of these social platforms out there have some way of doing a direct messaging, have a direct messaging component where you can do a direct message. Now, of course, some of the people that are at the higher levels, they get flooded with direct messages. And so they may, not really look at it. But when you're talking about people that are at the smaller level, it'll be a little bit more easy to connect with them using direct messages, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, however you try to communicate. Definitely the direct message is a great way to connect, because naturally they're going to be on these platforms. Going the comment route you had mentioned, I don't know if that's going to be that effective, because the comments, I think really you want to kind of keep that focused on their natural engagement with the audience. There are times where you think you can maybe put a comment out there and try to use that as a way to connect. But I think when you try to do that and you maybe put like a link, or you mention like your name in there, I think they're going to tend to shy away from that. They're going to think you're just all about trying to ride on the strength of their comments and try to get exposure to yourself. So the direct messages is best. You mentioned a lot of times on YouTube, of course, on YouTube, people are required to put their email address out there, but a lot of times they don't, or it's not a valid email, or it's an email that they don't check. One of the things that you could also do, there's a lot of email finder tools out there these days. One of them is called Hunter. Hunter.io is a great tool, will allow you to search for emails online. You get a little bit of information about a person, and it kind of scrubs the internet to try to find it. So that's definitely a great way to go. But I think either way, whether you're a brand or you're an affiliate or an influencer trying to reach other influencers, the key thing is going to be consistency. It's going to take several attempts to try to reach people, especially if they're at the higher levels. So you're going to have to do a lot of follow up and make sure that you're consistent with your outreach and just don't give up.
How much can we spend on a specific influencer? What is a good price when thinking of achieving good results?
Yeah, a lot of people wonder that question. It's a very common question about, if I'm a brand, what am I going to be paying these influencers? And one of the things that I always recommend is don't really narrow yourself down into just kind of a specific set budget. Of course, you have a budget in mind of how much you're willing to pay. But I think the key thing in here is, and this is kind of negotiating 101, is that you don't want to give them a price. So if you're approaching an influencer and, they're going to naturally ask, okay, how much are you going to be able to pay me? How much of a percentage am I going to get per sale? That's going to be their first question. Don't answer it. You want to respond with saying, okay, I'd rather find out how much you want to accept. And no matter what you do, try to not give them a solid answer. Try to get that answer from them first. So try to get them to let you know what they would be willing to pay your brand to be an influencer for them. And so once you do finally, you may have a lot of back and forth. They may not be willing to come up front with it, but you may eventually, get a number from them or some type of range from them. Once you get that, what I recommend as a good rule of thumb is come at least 30% below what they told you. Now, I know that seems extreme and you're probably like, wow, that's like, that seems ridiculous. And I think with negotiating, if you're not coming low enough to be so shocking and surprising, then you didn't come low enough. And so I'd say whatever they come at, come 30% lower, see what they say, and then go from there. Now, of course, I know there's a fine line. You don't want to scare people away. You want them to take you serious. But, the bottom line is you don't want to overpay for somebody that may not necessarily be able to deliver the results. So like I said, let them give you their number and then come back to you, come back to them with at least a 30% lower, and then start the negotiations from there.
Can you name or tell us about some useful influencer marketing tools?
First off, there's a lot of free tools out there that can, free influencer marketing databases where you can just list your profile for free. There's a few of them. BuzzStream is one particular platform that, has popular content, and it actually has a directory component of it where you can actually get a listing as an influencer and, try to get exposure to brands. Another particular platform is called GetUpfluence. Get Upfluence is another platform where they're kind of a similar to what I mentioned before, a matchmaking type service between influencers and brands. And so you can go on there, set up an account, and, kind of cement yourself as as an influencer. So you want to get that out there as much as possible. But like I said, there's plenty of free directories out there that are going to give you free listings. And so definitely start there, and then start after that going with some of those paid services where as an influencer you may have to pay to get a listing. But there are many of them that are really kind of hungry for content. A lot of these directories will scrape the web, and they may already have you listed or other influencers listed because they just are scraping the internet for people that have a high follower count. So you may already be listed, but if you're not, they're constantly trying to fill their databases. So you can, I think a lot of them is pretty easy to get a free listing on.
And the last question, what is the future of affiliate marketing?
Well, it's, I think, here to stay, as I think we've really all seen, because I think, and that's a great final question, because I think influencer marketing really, I think, is the next iteration of affiliate marketing. It's really, I like to say it's affiliate marketing of today. So it's really just grown, and it's more powerful than ever. I don't think it's going anywhere, because as people know, brands know this, influencers know this, that word of mouth marketing is, it's really one of the oldest forms of marketing. It's been around for as long as businesses have ever been in existence, where they're leveraging the strength of people spreading the word and people telling others about it. And then now these days, because of the pull away from traditional forms of advertising, brands are looking for ways to get others to spread the word. And that's through word of mouth marketing, affiliate marketing, and leveraging the power and the reach of these affiliates and influencers. And so, as we are, moving forward with things, it's, I think, just going to get bigger and bigger every day as the years go on.
It was a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much, Arlen. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Likewise, Liza, I appreciate the opportunity. It's a pleasure talking to you as well.
Wow, that was a lot of information. I'm curious, what do you think about influencer marketing? Are you planning to earn something from it, or are you already an influencer? Please leave the comments down below. And of course, give us a like if you enjoyed this video. Bye bye!